We had Dave Richard. He watches all this stuff. He's been in the business a long time. And you, roll your eyes. He thinks New England's better than Buffalo. You agree with that, correct?
I do.
And he says that the thing that might hurt them in the postseason is their lack of a pass rush. He says what concerns him about the Patriots in the postseason is their inability to rush the passer.
Well, they're beat. The other thing he didn't bring up was that they're beat up at the moment.
But we're focusing on this, John, right now, is the pass rush, is the lack of. And he says that Houston, Denver, these teams, Kansas City, he even said, like when you get into playoffs, that becomes very important. Do you agree with that?
I do. And I think the way you would get around it, if you're the Patriots, is you would rely on having a great secondary. And the secondary, to me, has played really well of late. And you look at some of the numbers, advanced or more traditional numbers, and the Patriots secondary has been very, very good these last few weeks. Even, Carlton Davis, who I think for a lot of people, first couple months of the season, myself included, sort of, tilt their head to the side when they think about Carlton Davis. Has he had a good year? Not so sure. But these last few weeks, he's been getting his hands on the football.
Yeah, he got away with some in Cincinnati.
He did. So I think they've been good enough on the back end to kind of make up for whatever inconsistencies they have on the front end. If they are able to get Milton Williams back, that helps the pass rush a lot, right? Because your pass rush isn't a traditional one here in New England where it's led by the edge guys. It's really your two best pass rushers are Barmore and Williams. So if everybody's healthy, I think you've got enough there to still be competitive and still be able to really beat any team in the AFC.
And that's, when Dave said it earlier, I hadn't really thought about it like that because obviously when you're talking about the defense, you're talking about, it comes down to two things. You talk about the pass rush, you talk about the corners, how are you going to handle those two critical situations? But specifically and especially in the playoffs, if you can disrupt presumably what is any opposing team's best weapon, their quarterback, if they've made it that far and it's not the quarterback, then I don't know how you made it that far. That becomes paramount. And getting to him and frustrating him or making him uncomfortable becomes, I think, more important than it does during the regular season.
I think you're right. And I also, though, look at it this way. Some of these quarterbacks, whether you end up seeing Josh Allen in the postseason, or maybe it's Patrick Mahomes at home, Chiefs sneak into the postseason and they end up being a lower seed and you end up seeing them as the Patriots. These guys are just really hard to stop, period. And so it's the offenses that win these games for the most part, especially now in today's NFL.
Not in Denver.
It won't be in Denver. If they end up winning and going all the way, it won't be because of their offense. You're right. But the guys that have been getting to the Final Four, Hardy, in the Super Bowl are the MVP quarterbacks.
I call Denver Sexy Sandra because they're guaranteed to go all the way.
Why Sandra?
Couldn't think of nothing else if we had an S.
Okay.
That's good alliteration by you. That's nice.
Thanks.
I like that. I think if you're the Patriots, you got to look at the offense too. If there's going to be a fatal flaw, to me, it wouldn't be the pass rush. It would be their inability to run the ball consistently. Because I think the later you get into the year, you are going to face better defenses. You're going to face better offenses, so you're going to have to put points on the board. Patriots have been bad in the red zone, and I think that is related to their inability to run the ball efficiently or on a consistent basis. So that, to me, would probably be the one thing you're trying to find answers to this bye week.
Why can't they run on 3rd and 1? Why can't they get points, touchdowns on goal-to-go situations? I mean, this is a glaring weakness over the last few weeks. What are the biggest contributing factors?
It's the offensive line is what I think. Now, is some of it the running backs, and specifically Travion Henderson, who I still think sort of runs into the pile at times? Yes. But I think you start with the offensive line and things that we've heard lately, and even Mike Vrabel said it the other day. In those goal line situations, for example, you're trying to, as an offensive lineman, you're trying to score with your man, quote unquote, meaning take your guy into.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You're going
awesome.
Hell yeah, I'm old.
Thanks, Phil.
Southern intimidating.
Yeah.
But you take him and drive him into the end zone, right? Score with your guy, right? So they're not able to do that on a consistent basis.
Is it a little late in the season for improvement? I mean,
could be.
Are you in a situation where you are what you are at this point?
Potentially, but so what are the answers? The answers are maybe try a different type of run, right? Where you're not having to get north-south. Maybe you're better getting east-west, and maybe you're not going to be scoring with your guy. Maybe you're going to be hauling ass to the sideline and opening up a running lane somewhere out in space for a guy like Travion Henderson, maybe give him a little bit easier read. And so those are the kinds of things I wonder, maybe we start to see those later in the year. If they can't do anything, with their run game, then it's all on the quarterback. And the quarterback's been, in my opinion, the best in the league. So maybe he can handle it. We just haven't seen him do it through December and January.
It was, and I said it earlier in the week, and I know I had asked you this earlier in the season. When you're looking at all these other teams, what's the one thing you have to worry about? Is it their defense? Is it with the Colts that maybe it was their running back that you had to worry about? What was it with the Patriots? And I think you were the first to say, "Oh, it's Drake May," and I'm like, "Yeah, I really don't see it yet." It was that pass to Williams on Sunday when I said, "Oh," or Monday night. I'm like, "Oh, okay, now." It finally took, a pass like that, and he's had others during the season, but now I'm convinced. That's the one thing. That's the one thing with the Patriots. If you're an opposing team, that's what keeps you up at night before you play them.
I think
he's the guy.
The hardest thing about him, when you're talking about him in that sense, Hardy, is that there's no obvious answer for him defensively, right? We've seen teams try man coverage.
Can't pressure him.
We've seen blitzes not work against him because he carves up the blitz. We've seen drop 8 coverages, which have given him issues at times, but he's solved not as much in the last couple of weeks. You're right, Fred. And so there's just not that quote-unquote blueprint for him. And maybe somebody will find it. Maybe it'll be McDermott, right when they get back from the bye.
I was going to say, maybe
that'll lay it out for everybody
else. A team that's seen him for his second time now, and in a season when he's
that Buffalo game's a huge litmus test for a bunch of reasons. But they can beat Buffalo playing him a second time, even though it's at home.
And it'll be interesting.
With that experience, I mean, then you're like, oh, boy. I mean, you already are. Right. I mean, they're 11-2, and they're going to have the bye. But if they can beat Buffalo at home, not like they have to, even if they don't, it doesn't make them a bad team or not a really good team. But if they beat Buffalo at home, not just because it's Buffalo, but because you're playing a good team the second time.
It's the first time this season that anyone will have seen Drake May a second time.
Right. And so this is – and look, if May has an average game, it's obviously – I'm just getting ahead of this now. I'm not saying it means really anything. If they lose, they lose. I mean, it's more I'd be concerned about positioning in the AFC than I would be about the meaning of losing that game. But if you win twice against Buffalo – that is quite a state. And then you really can't ask them to have done more. I mean, they've lost. I mean, that's the best team you played. You played them twice. It's the best team you're going to play. Might be the best team you play. Dan Jones got a broken leg. Might be the best team you play all season unless you make the AFC Championship game. So you beat them twice? I mean, that's a statement.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.